want to talk about the strong woman, superwoman schema in the community of so-called African American women. And I want to talk about this because this is very relevant, with Venus representing feminine energy being in the underworld, which is very parallel to the experience of being an African American woman in America. I want to expound on why we're seeing some of the things that we're seeing in regards to mental health, physical health, and our spiritual connection. According to heart.org, the image of the strong African American woman, resilient, driven to succeed, devoted to those around her, is rooted in generations of history. Many women see it as a proud legacy that helps shield them from the insults of entrenched discrimination. But health-wise, that shield might be a double-edged sword. As part of the African American Women's Heart and Health Study, which has been examining links between racism and health since 2012, researchers talked to 208 African American San Francisco Bay Area women ages 30 to 50 about the racism they face and how they cope. They also measured physical responses to stress, such as blood pressure and certain hormone levels. This newest work built off studies that define what's known as the superwoman schema. Its aspects include feeling obligated to appear strong and suppress emotions, resistance to being vulnerable or dependent on others, determination to succeed, and feeling obligated to help others. For the recent study published in the Annals of New York Academy of Sciences, researchers compared those physical responses to stress to certain aspects of being a superwoman. The results, some of those aspects showed up as having an intense motivation to succeed and a feeling of obligation to help others, seemed to worsen the physical harm from racism-induced stress. The need to appear strong and suppress emotions seemed to protect women's health in the face of racism, but with an asterisk. The pressure to be a superwoman starts early, lead author Amani M. Allen said. It's something that black girls and then teenagers and then women tend to carry with them throughout their life, said Allen, Associate Professor of Community Health Sciences and Epidemiology at the University of California, Berkeley School of Public Health. It's more than just, I'm black, so I'm dealing with racism, or I'm a woman and I'm dealing with sexism. It's both of those things. And each amplifies the other. Some of Allen's early work associated the pressure of being a superwoman with harmful habits like smoking, physical inactivity, using food to cope with stress, and more. But when she gives talks about the potential harm from trying to be a superwoman, she said, I invariably get someone in the audience that stands up and says, how can you tell me that this is bad for my health? This is my armor. This is what I put on as a form of protection so that I can deal with the day-to-day stressors, the darts, the arrows that I know are going to come my way simply because I am an African American woman. Karen Patricia Williams, a distinguished professor of nursing at the Ohio State University in Columbus, said stress from the drip, drip, drip of constant exposure to racism adds up over time. Her 2019 study in circulation, cardiovascular quality, and outcomes suggests the stresses of trying to be a superwoman aren't connected to specific diseases, but to several risk factors that could leave women more susceptible to health problems, including heart disease. Williams praised Allen's research for getting beneath the surface of how environment, mental health, and physical health overlap. Those interactions are complex. For example, some research shows caregiving can boost health and longevity, but it seemed to hurt the women in Allen's study. This might be a result of women ignoring their own health, Allen said. Many of the women describe how their concerns about others, particularly their children and loved ones, and our men, our partners, can result in them neglecting their own self-care. They're so busy taking care and looking after others, they're not eating right, they're not exercising, they're not doing all the things that they know would be helpful for themselves, she said. Similarly, Allen's data showed projecting an image of strength protected women, but women also said that left them utterly exhausted. And while the data found suppressing emotions was helpful, most research shows emotional suppression is really bad for health, Allen said. It's kind of like a time bomb waiting to go off. She thinks women who suppress emotions might see a short-term benefit from limiting the effects of anger, which she said is both the most commonly reported emotional response to racism and one that is particularly damaging to health. But her study didn't measure anger or consider long-term health effects. So more research will be needed, she said. What should an African American woman who faces these pressures do? Everyone is different, Ellen said, and they should decide for themselves if their style of coping is harmful or helpful. She suggested women be mindful, take the time to stop and think about how they're reacting and why. Being around supportive people can be powerful. Social support is associated with a hormone called oxytocin, she said, and oxytocin has been associated with positive health outcomes. Allen and Williams both emphasized the importance of self-care. I think we've been taught not to be self-indulgent, Williams said, but I think that we can do a little bit for ourselves. Maybe it's just having a day for yourself, or maybe it's not a full day. Maybe it's, I'm going to let somebody else pick up the kids today from school. I'm going to do something for myself, by myself. So I wanted to read this because this leads me into some of the information that I have been researching and compiling over the course of at least 25 to 30 years. My major was psychology. My focus has always been the feminine. And some of the things that I went through in personal traumas is what is the catalyst for me. So as we can see here, it is a superwoman type of showing up in life. It's only beneficial short term. However, many women have had no choice but to be in their masculine energy. Because when you are in superwoman energy, you have to repress your emotions. You don't have time to be with your emotions. You have people to take care of, call, things to do, cook, clean, talk to, emotionally regulate and manage the household. You have your own social circles that maybe you aren't really getting time to participate in because there are so many expectations created by society that we have absorbed into ourselves, and we hold ourselves to these unrealistic expectations. And this has become a baseline way of being. It doesn't require conscious mind. When I wake up in the grand rising of each day, I notice I automatically go into my superwoman schema. And I'm tired before I get out of bed because my mind has already went over everything that's expected of me, everything that I need to do, and the possible outcomes if I don't get it all done. And I am someone who hasn't really had a huge support system of people that I can actually call on who will prioritize me to help me. Not to say I haven't had people sprinkle in along the way, but I never had a consistent flow of a support system. And oftentimes, this superwoman state of being gave a message to people that know me of, she's strong, she don't need help. And even when I began to let my guard down and communicate when I needed help, people have been conditioned to know that I'm going to pull through whatever I'm going through. And that actually worked against me. And it left me on an island of managing not only what I need for me, but what I had trained everybody else to expect from me. And this is when I hit codependency rock bottom. Right now, more than ever, we will be seeing information circulate more about these topics and some of the things that I'm presenting to you. And the question that I ask is, how is this going to impact the hierarchy that we exist within in our homes, in the workplace, and in the world? Because unfortunately, many of us have suppressed emotions so much, overused our bodies so much, overextended ourselves so much, agreed to take on things we really did not have the energy to handle so much, opened our legs to have sex with whoever it is that are in our lives, expecting us to do that, because ultimately that is the woman's duty, that is the wife's duty, to please her partner. We have done that so much while our own hearts are shut down, afraid to open, while we are feeling unsafe, lacking a sense of security, lacking a support system, lacking the ability to be vulnerable in conversations with our partners because of their own maladaptive strategies of dealing with their own conditioning. We have done for our children and children's children, if we are grandmothers or whatever, we have given so much to our loved ones that now that we're burnt out and seeing that we need to change, well, the people who have been conditioned to receive our help, they don't really know what it took for us to do what we did. Even if it's something that seems small in their eyes, the version of us that live within people who have been connected to us is being challenged. And they're seeing something in front of them that is different from the version of us that we showed them. And this may lead to mass destabilization of relationships in every facet of life. This is the true war, because what's happening with the microcosm of the macrocosm, those who are extensions of source energy, those who are called to be love workers, healers, medicine men and women, whatever it is that your spirit is calling you to do, with this mass disturbance, there will be new dynamics that may be difficult for people that are in your life to accept the new you. And that's okay. We have to learn to be okay when the version of us that people dependent upon is no longer taking up space, so that we're able to step onto a new timeline, making decisions that support our future goals and our dreams, instead of forfeiting our future by trying to constantly be in superwoman mode in service to others. The nice woman must die to give space for the phoenix to rise, to give space to the new woman who is no longer just a woman. She is no longer just a womb man, but she is becoming the consciousness and essence of feminine healing that is rising on the planet. She must be supported and honored for the changes that she is making, for all that she has been through. This may seem a little off topic, but it isn't, because everything is interconnected. There was a woman who bought a ticket. She's a mother, and she bought a ticket to see a Beyonce concert. And her timing was off, and she missed the concert. Well, that's something that a lot of us can relate to. I have recently missed out on a meeting with this just gorgeous, powerful, Leo-led individual who wants to help people that have spiritual businesses to bring their brands alive. Like, I scheduled a meeting with her, and homeschool was so difficult because I'm managing chronic illness, and I'm managing some acute symptoms right now, and so is my daughter. And I'm homeschooling her to change the trajectory of her life, because that's probably what I needed as a kid, to be able to be healthier as well. So I'm giving to her what I feel would have helped me. And I got so immersed in helping her because math is not the easiest for her. And I missed my appointment by like 28 minutes. I was late. And I thought about the young lady who missed the concert. And I think she spent, $500 for the ticket? This is where we are. We're in a space where time management and executive function is taking a back seat because our nerves are fried. Our vagus nerve system is not functioning the way that it should. Our immune system is in overdrive. We are constantly having to ignore what's happening with our body because we don't have support systems that really give space for us to rest and rejuvenate the way that we need to. We're giving from a cup that is already empty, masquerading as if we are happy, joyful, full, blissful, and everything is just great. And it's not. We are in pain. Some of us are going through transformations. It could be astrologically, Uranus opposition, your Saturn return. It could be just ancestral trauma that you are being triggered to heal because you are the chosen one to do so. It could be the ancient karmic trauma from the planets that I've taught about and explaining the Mayan calendar and the significance of 13 moons to follow the year versus following the sun. The changes of the calendars, it affected the feminine principle on the planet. The legal system, it ignored the feminine beings on the planet and their needs. The medical system has so many barbaric practices that we have to experience because, hey, we really haven't been given a choice to consent to do otherwise. It is us that have to prepare ourselves to have metal shoved inside of us to go get pap smears. It is us that have to carry all of the trauma that has been dumped energetically inside of us through our sexual relationships, through our energetic relationships, because many of us are receivers of energy. Feminine energy receives. Because the culture is so toxic on top of these other power structures that were created to drain the life force energy from the feminine, to emasculate and infantile the minds of the masculine embodied beings on the planet. And it leaves us vulnerable to spiritual attacks. It leaves us vulnerable to being targeted individuals who are energetically being attacked with many different things, but because it's frequency, energy, and vibration, because we cannot see it, many people think that we are crazy if we even spoke about it. We have been polarized. We have been gaslit. We have been lied to and manipulated as a people. I have been sitting on the sidelines and offering micro services to help and support. The amount of chaos that I see in the world and what I'm feeling when I'm tuning into the collective is calling for not just me, but for anyone who is called to be a love walker on this planet, who is called to visualize a new way, to clear the karmic debt, to be an example, to be a leader, to be a visionary, to be unafraid, bold and brazen, willing to speak up, willing to communicate whatever your truth is without worry of what other people will think. These are the minds of architects that are here to create the new earth. And you may not be popular. I'm not popular, but I'm not for everybody. And that's okay. However, my perspective has proved itself. And I can't go back and change timestamps on videos. It's all there. And my integrity has not been as deep as I would like for it to be. But baby, let me tell you, it is going deeper. Because I know my energetic setup, my human design, my galactic signature, my Atmakarika, my rising, my ascendant, my moon, everything about the way I am constructed to exist in time and space is meant to be in service of those who are ready to heal and be free, who would like to be offered a new way of perceiving things, who are ready to learn how to transmute chaos into connection, who is ready to transmute pain into purpose and power, who is ready to take the shadow aspects that we deem to be unworthy to be seen by the light of day, and we repressed it and hid it and pushed it down, and we've carried depression and so many other difficulties in life, but we're ready to accept the challenge of figuring out who we authentically are. And it's okay if some people may not love us the same, may avoid and pull away from us and just not want to deal with us in the way that they used to. That's okay, but the time is now to make that change. Today is the day to make that change. And if what you see happening in the world touches you in the least bit, it's because you have been called to transmute the shit into fertilizer so that we can lay new soil to plant new seeds. And I'm recording this under the new moon. So if you are sick physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, there is no separation between those manifestations and what you may be carrying inside of you. Now, I can't tell people what to do in their relationships, but I am completing a guidebook with activities that are more like games that you can play with your partner to help them be a little more understanding of what you are going through. And I'm going to say this because the time of me holding back what I truly feel, it has ended. And I know how important it is for the people who are ready for transformation to receive these messages. So this is for you. If you have been working on yourself, that means that your vibration is going to change. And when that vibration changes, that also means that it's going to emit and broadcast a different type of feeling when people are in your presence or when they think about you. This also means that, again, people may feel different about you or towards you. If you happen to be in a relationship and you're going through a spiritual awakening, the dynamics may shift and change. And it may be in ways that are in service to you or not, but ultimately everything is in service to you. Even if there are dysfunctional patterns in the relationship that hurt, we know that anything that we experience as spiritual beings can be transmuted into power, can be transmuted into wisdom. By me attracting emotionally unavailable partners over and over again, I was able to discover the parts of me that was emotionally unavailable and afraid to open up. So all of my exes were gifts to me. And by me being in this energy, knowing this, and allowing that to move throughout my body, it takes the power away that I gave away in past relationships. Cord cuttings can be done in many ways. And I have taught many webinars and lectures that you can find on Patreon and the website, teaching you many ways to do this. But one of the most powerful ways is to shift your mindset and learn how to generate thoughts that will cultivate emotions that are supportive of you cutting these cords, so that your power is no longer being used by people that you're not even in relationships anymore. That's how powerful we are as womb men. Sometimes our energy covers our exes for years and even decades to come after we have been gone. That is the power of someone who can incarnate a soul into a physical body inside of her body and give birth to that soul into the physical realm. We are not bound by time and space. This is the reason why syphilis turned into immortal cells produced within the cervix of Henrietta Lacks. We aren't lacking anything. But because we have been used to be the battery to many systems and power structures and social constructs of the 3D matrix, our energy is scattered, and it's time for us to call that energy back. While I am calling this energy back to me, I must also protect the work that I'm doing, which means during this time, I do not say yes to anything that I do not truly feel I'm supposed to do. And I accept the responsibility that comes with that. I accept the outcome that is possible because of that. That does mean that people may be upset with me. It means my man might even be upset with me. He might not know how to feel about these changes. He might just miss talking to me. But I'm needing to spend time with myself, because no one is responsible for repairing me but me. And if the people that you have close to you and are in relationship with romantically, if they truly love you, they will learn to be okay with the space that you are requiring to heal. And if they want the best for you, they will find a way to adapt and innovate the way your dynamic exists with one another. This does mean not having sex when you do not feel aligned to do so. Because each time you do that, you generate more toxic energy within yourself. You generate more feelings of not being safe within yourself. And that little girl that's inside of you, who is always watching everything that you do, she's going to feel powerless in that moment. And she may re-experience a trauma from your past that you may not remember. I had this happen to me. And in the middle of sex, an emotional flashback occurred of something I completely forgot about because it compartmentalized. And I repressed it into the shadows to cope and keep moving forward. And when this came up for me, I knew that I was going to have to do things different, and that the changes were going to need to be radical, bold, courageous, and unafraid. I was going to need to become the lioness and be fearless. I expressed to my partner, look, I'm going through something and I really need to heal. Things are going to be different, but it's not because of a lack of love for you. It's the lack of love for me. And I ask that you be as patient and compassionate with me as I have been with you in areas where your trauma affects the way you treat me. Because I've taken a lot from a lot of people. And I did my best to transmute it. However, I have discovered in doing shadow work and the real soul healing journey that I'm on, I've realized that my body is holding this pain, the grief, the distress, the fear. And my immune system is not protecting me the way it used to. We're in the middle of a biological warfare. I'm going to need to move different. And I may need you to hold a different kind of space for me. I may need you to just pray for my well-being during this time. It is not your responsibility to make me happy, to heal me, or make me feel good. And I hope that you are able to accept that this is what I must do for myself. And if this ever becomes too much for you, let me know. And we will cross that bridge when we get to it. But right now, I need to focus on myself like I never have before. And I'm scared. I'm afraid. I don't want you to walk out on me in the middle of this. And I know that I have conditioned you to expect me to be Superwoman. I know that I've carried burden on my back and made it look like the wings of an angel. I know that the crown on my head has been heavy and I knew how to walk around like a ballerina, but I was breaking inside. I felt like concrete was on my feet just to get up and get through my day. I'm tired before next week gets here, but I still got a lot of tasks to get done next week, and I don't have enough help. And I know that you're doing the best that you can, and I appreciate that. But this is what I need. And once you communicate from the heart, can y'all feel the difference between heart communication and head communication? See, the capacity for a woman to move through, cycle through emotions, that's a superpower. But we've used it for everybody else. So, in this space now, there are a couple of things that you can do to help you. Your story may be a little bit different from mine. But if you're dealing with physical illness, know that that is a spiritual initiation into self-love and self-care. If you have children, especially daughters, they're watching you. You want to make sure that the way you're treating yourself reflects the way that you want your daughters to love themselves. If it's not, it's time for some conscious parenting. It's time for you to gather some information and figure out how to best do that. And if you would like for me to maybe do a webinar about that, and we could do a Q&A, just let me know in the comments section. I'm going to be creating a list of things that I feel are worthy of my energy so that I can remain in integrity and make sure that my energy is only being given to doing what my soul has been put here to do. The time of doing everything is over. Okay? You want to make sure that they see you loving yourself. All physical illness is a form of a spiritual initiation. And this is why many spiritual initiations do have some sort of physical discomfort involved. So if you are uncomfortable physically, if you have pain anywhere, tension, tightness, digestive issues, headaches, dizziness, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, lupus, autoimmune disease, the list just goes on and on. Know that you can handle whatever is happening. I just heard mold toxicity, so somebody listening dealing with that. I have dealt with that as well. Know that you are capable, and affirm that the universe, God, Goddess, Creator, Most High, whatever name you use to call the force of energy that creates creation from the unseen realm, you want to call out for help. And just admit that I cannot handle this alone and I need help. I give thanks for you sending the necessary connections and resources for me to heal. As simple as that. And you repeat that every single day, looking at yourself in the mirror, ideally. That's what I like to do. As you are doing the best that you can with the knowledge that you have and the resources that you have to be healthier. If you are dealing with mental illness, personality disorders, emotional dysregulation, one of the simple things that you can do is lean more into your meditation practice. If you haven't started one, or you started one and kind of fell off, that's okay. It happens. Okay, we've been taking in some really, really intense energies lately. Of course, some things are just going to fall to the back burner. But this is important. So start off with just 5 minutes. I have actually a pretty good number of meditations created that are both free and for donation on Patreon. So you can use that. And journal. Spend some time journaling about the things that show up for you. If you need journal prompts, I have a journal, a self-worth journal, to help you tap into that despite what you're discovering to be a form of weakness or limitation. That's in the OBB challenge. It's just 7 days where I help you to create a mindset that's going to support whatever it is that you would like to manifest. And on the 7th day, you receive a free journal from me that I personally use to navigate some of the most difficult mental, emotional, and physical disturbances in my life. And as someone who has complex PTSD, depression, anxiety, I used to have panic attacks. A lot of this I have overcome. Some of it I have not. I'm telling you, if you apply yourself to feeling better the best way that you can, and put on the bucket list what you cannot control and burn it up, try that out for the new moon. These tips that I've given you here come from everything that I teach. And I see now that my whole life has been leading me to this place where I am now. And I'm so grateful for this. Things will be changing. I will be shifting directions again. I'm not one of those entrepreneurs who get tied down because of certain expectations and obligations. I switch up when I need to. And however it affects the business, that's how it affects the business. And I have taken a huge cut in payment to be in integrity this way. It's not going to be like that forever, but for now, that's okay. But I know without a shadow of a doubt that my teachings are going to expand across many decades and even many years after I am gone, because they are effective and they work. And I am proof of that. So I want to thank you. I'm going to put all of the links that you need below. I know that my description be full and have a lot of information, but that's just the overflow, y'all. It's so much. And I have so many things that I know people are ready for, and this is why I am creating this guidebook. So this is going to be the first of many, and be on the lookout for those. Make sure that you are on the email list. And I will keep you updated as far as the changes, because these changes are coming in a little bit quicker than I expected. But the plan is for me to be able to channel, transmit, whatever word you want to use, from the Akashic Records in groups, in a group setting where we can meditate together. And then I will channel to you by connecting to each individual there and the Akashic Records collectively. So that's something that my heart has been wanting to do. And today was your sample of what that's like. I have taken time to get to this place because I do know that most of my thoughts are original thoughts, or thoughts that people think but maybe are afraid to say out loud because they don't want to sound crazy, or they don't want to get judged and criticized, or be called stupid or bad or evil, or you know how it gets. You put a few herbs together with some powerful affirmations, and all of a sudden now you're just this evil witch and people don't want to talk to you no more, and people stop calling to check on you. Y'all know how it goes. But that's not an indictment on you. It's just a reflection of the polarization that we are experiencing, and people who are living in duality. And, we all have our own path to walk. So no one is to be judged here. So there's that. And stay tuned, because I'm going to be just doing pop-up movements, messages, and just things that is outside of linear time and space. So as a white galactic wizard, we're in a white wizard year. I've been activated this year like never before. So I want to make sure that I'm utilizing my gifts in a way that are in service to others, but not in disservice to me, because that would not be integrity, and that would defeat the whole purpose in what I'm doing. All right. Y'all already know what it is. Man, your third eye just been kissed. Sure enough, yes it did. And we were riding the locomotive on our way to self-worth field together. Namaste. Namaste. Peace. One love. Ashe.